welcome to the Future Skills Ireland podcast. I'm your host, Shauna Dunlop. I'm the Director of Future Skills Needs in SOLAS, the Further Education and Training Authority in Ireland. I'm delighted to be bringing this first ever series of a podcast where we'll hear from real people about their own skills journeys, different conversations that they have had in terms of what we need to talk about in terms of skills and research across Ireland, and all with the singular purpose of starting a new national conversation on skills in Ireland. I'm joined today by my colleague in SOLAS, Joanne Morrissey. Joanne is a real ambassador in terms of construction skills and has carried out amazing work in terms of apprenticeship and also in very, very key and important government decisions where we've really had to step up and use our skills, both in terms of challenges and also opportunities. You are very, very welcome, Joanne.
Thank you, Shauna.
So, Joanne, I know that you at the moment are a senior leader in the world of construction skills in SOLAS, and we will give you a chance to talk about that in a moment. But I also know you've been involved in lots and lots of different types of work in SOLAS and in organisations connected to SOLAS over the years. And one very, very important area, which maybe a lot of people will never have heard of, or maybe people remember very well actually, is the European Globalisation Fund, which was a big fund that we had here in Ireland where, you know, there was lots and lots of issues when people were losing their jobs, you know, not very long ago. So I know you were deeply involved in that piece of work as well. And of course, apprenticeship, which is an area that is very true to my heart as well. So I know that we're going to have a chance to hear from you about a lot of those different areas, all very key skills actually, as well, and very current at this moment in time in Ireland. But I suppose like all of those things fit within one kind of overall key skills theme in a way, because areas like construction skills, we hear about these modern methods of construction, and we'll talk about that a little bit, but apprenticeship as well, and even, you know, thinking about giving people a chance to upskill when there is a crisis. So it brings us back to that key theme about how skills tend to be a response by government in many different ways, but it is a key response that Ireland actually has in difficult times, but also in times where there's huge opportunities and huge change. So that's kind of the general theme that we'll be able to think about. But I'll maybe just start by giving you a chance to tell me a little bit about the work that you're doing now and, you know, what that entails and you know, what's kind of your everyday, if there is such a thing in SOLAS in the world of construction, a little bit about your day-to-day activities.
Well, I suppose at the moment I'm the manager of construction services, which from SOLAS point of view, we're responsible for the Safe Pass programme, the construction skills certification schemes and the quarrying skills certification schemes.
Yes.
And they're very important because obviously from a health and safety point of view, anybody that's going onto a site needs to be aware of the risks and the potential risks that they can cause to themselves or to other people. So it's really, really important that everybody has the Safe Pass card initially to go on site. So that's probably what we're managing at the moment. Yeah. And at the minute, I suppose we have about 120,000 a year that go through, the Safe Pass. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So basically, like you'd have new entrants coming in, and they have to renew every 4 years.
Right.
How we deliver that, obviously, is we're in partnership with Safe Pass tutors. So they're our training providers, and they have to be approved. So basically, actually, we had a very good event last week.
Right.
In the Athlone Springs Hotel, where we had the first ever event bringing all our Safe Pass tutors together all in one room. And I did the address and opening, and I welcomed our CEO, Andrew Brownlee, as well, who gave the keynote speak. And it was very good because we had done or carried out a Safe Pass survey of tutors. So their feedback was delivered by the consultants who actually did that.
Yes.
And then we had our own colleague, Fionnuala Carter, from the Literacy for All, and she gave a very good presentation, which was very interactive, and they were great engagement on that. So she gave a presentation, and then we had Mozart, which is where you're coming back to the modern methods of construction.
Yes.
So this is the future of construction.
Mhm.
So basically, what do we want to do with construction? We want to kind of build faster, work smarter, and all that type of thing, more sustainable and stuff. But it all comes back to a health and safety, objective as well.
Yeah.
So and how does that impact on how we're delivering Safe Pass or CSES or QSES programs?
Yes.
But the event went down very, very well, and then we had a kind of an open forum in the afternoon where there was very open, very transparent, very hard-hitting questions. And so I'm hoping that will continue, that we'll have maybe webinars that we can actually keep people up to date with.
Yeah.
We're looking at maybe a continuous professional development as well for Safe Pass tutors. And then maybe to grow that out to CSS and QSES as well, tutors. So that's probably
services, inquiry services.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I keep saying CSES and QSES.
Okay.
But
okay.
So, and I suppose then, I mean, the main thing is that you're kind of leading a team as well.
Yes.
You're leading a big team.
A big team. It's a big operation.
It is a big operation. But, so you're leading a team of people. So with everything that entails, you have to, I suppose, bring people on. You have to encourage them. You have to ensure they have the skills to deliver as well. And as I suppose the construction industry changes, so will we. So we have to adapt as well.
Yes.
So basically, I suppose, and then I'm dealing with the departments, you're dealing with construction industry bodies, you're dealing with advisory groups.
Yes.
So you've all that. So so that's probably a
busy day. Yeah, it's a busy day.
It's busy, but
on a normal day.
You have a great team, I suppose, because we have, we do monitoring of programs as well.
Yes.
So that's very important because you want to have continuous improvement. You want people to, and not just from us, but it's a two-way street, I suppose. We work in collaboration and partnership. So, I mean, obviously, we want best practices out there as well.
Yeah.
We've had the program as well, kind of, we've had it reviewed, and it's up there with EU as well, with our EU partners or other countries. So, so that's day to day, really, Shauna.
It's a busy day. It's a busy day. So I'll just go back over some of those numbers just to give people a sense of the scale of the operation that you're leading there. So over 100,000 cards being issued annually. Yes.
Over 100,000,
yes. So huge operation. And if I'm right now, you can't get onto a building site if you don't have this Safe Pass.
Yes, they're all actually in the Act. So there's a list of people that need to require it. And then other people, if you're going on site, then obviously you need to have your Safe Pass.
Fundamental.
Like
so
it's fundamental to your safety. And that's the key point. Yeah. It's not a tick box for us in SOLAS. We take it, it's our responsibility.
Yeah.
And we're very clear that if we can make people aware of their own safety and they're aware of everybody else's.
Yes.
So the whole point is to get home safe.
Yes, absolutely. So people are looking out now at the various building and construction sites around them, and maybe people don't realise the kind of operation that has to go on, that you're leading there to make sure people are safe and they're qualified. And is it the first time now? I'm just wondering, is it the first time that you got all the tutors and the people who are involved in this massive operation together? Is it the first time that it happened?
Yes, it's the first time.
How did you manage to do that? How did you get that done?
I think since I've come in, I'm in since, is it last year? So since I've come in, we've been, I've been out visiting the programs, listening to people. And I think what you don't want to do is get feedback and not act on feedback.
Absolutely.
If you're asking for feedback, then what do you want to do with it?
Yes.
So obviously we want them to tell us, what's working, what isn't working.
Yes.
But sometimes there were only meetings, say, every, you might get 20 people in a renewal program.
Yes.
So not all the Safe Pass tutors need to know each other, but then it's nice to get everybody in the room as well.
Yeah.
So we said, you know what, we'll have an event. We'll get everybody together because it's important that they hear the one message at the one time from myself as manager, from the director, from the CEO, so that, it's not a tick box. It's very important to us. Yeah. We want to drive it on. We want to have best practice. Yeah. We want to be up there. And that's what we do. So I suppose from the Safe Pass point of view, and that's when it's a one-day awareness program, but it's key. It could be the first time somebody actually is aware of anything health and safety going on to a site. Yeah. That's probably the key. But how we do that is You send out your invitations and you hope everybody will attend. And we had
people did.
We had over 95%. Yeah, it was fantastic.
Well, that's amazing.
It was a great day, actually. Now I have to say, it was very positive. So, and again, all you have to do is, I think if people think that you're listening to them and that you're going to act on what it is, then that's the key. Yeah. It's not, and as I said, if you're going to ask people to go somewhere or do something and ask them for feedback or ask them for their thoughts and opinions on something, then you really do need to say, right, what are the priorities? What can we act on? Some things are in our control. Yes. Some things may not be. Yes. And if they're not, then we have to go to the powers maybe that be and say, is there something can happen here? Yeah. But obviously it's about what's SOLAS responsibility. Yeah. And that's our responsibility.
I'd like to come back to you though as well, in terms of all of this, because I think you picked up on a couple of things, and there's a couple of key words starting to jump out at us here as we think about this new national conversation on skills. One is connection, and it feels that you're building a community there, of practitioners and there's a whole lot of different organisations and people involved in this as well. So that's building a community. But you also mentioned listening, Joanne, and again, that's a word that that's becoming there, because we don't necessarily think of listening as a skill potentially, or, that very important point that you raised as well, the responding to feedback, so we can talk about skills in the context of construction and certification and all of that, but actually you're picking up on a lot of other different skills, and they're skills that you have yourself, because they're skills that you're bringing into this world, the connection, the building communities, the listening. Is there and thinking back now, over your work in apprenticeship, and I'm coming to that now in a moment, and also in helping people get through upskilling to get into new jobs during, the period of, that was difficult here and unemployment. What do you think are maybe one or two kind of key skills that you have that have helped you get to, where you are right now, where you're leading such a major, impactful operation?
I suppose the two skills that I think have kind of helped me to grow and develop in particular areas would be, one is influencing. Okay. And the second one would be communication.
Okay, so give me an example of where you influenced.
Well, I don't mean it in a buzzy, I suppose, kind of a way. Yeah. I mean it in taking, practical boots on the ground type thing. I suppose working with people who are facing major life transitions.
Yes. Like during the recession, and where there was periods of people being unemployed from big operations around Limerick.
And because you're working across, I suppose, a wide web of systems, sectors, stakeholders, that type of thing. So it's about, I suppose, listening to what the individuals require. Yes. How then can you influence that by working with the people in those government departments, in those particular sectors, to obviously deliver on what you need. Yes. And it's been empathetic as well. I suppose you have to have empathy. So it's not like manipulative. That's not what influencing is. And I think sometimes people think that's probably what influencing means. It's not. It's about being able to, and this is why I come back to communication as well. Yes. Because you can't influence if you can't communicate clearly. So it's really putting those two things together, I suppose. Yeah. And I suppose, I've worked for people who've made redundant, as I said, in their jobs, sometimes after decades. Yeah. I've helped NEETs, which are young persons, not in employment, education or training, through the EGF, as you've spoken about, the European Globalisation Fund. I supported the apprentices and employers, as you've said as well, through not just the European Globalisation Fund with the downturn, but also through COVID.
Of course, yes.
Because we developed the apprenticeship incentivisation scheme, which obviously supported the employers and apprentices at that time as well. And I suppose now I'm managing the Safe Pass in the construction as well, so that health and safety area. And I suppose the work has brought me into, contact with a lot of organisations and governments, departments, enterprise offices, social welfare, private training providers, career coaches. I can go on. You name it, I've probably dealt with them over my career. And at the heart of it all, I suppose you need to bring everyone together in a way that works for the person.
Yes.
trying to move forward. And I think that's where I was kind of going with the influencing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the communication. So I suppose when you're in the middle of all those moving parts, you don't always have direct authority.
Yes.
You don't always have that responsibility.
No.
But you can influence the outcomes, and that's probably where I'm going with the influencing.
Yeah.
You're building relationships, as I said. I'll go back to being collaborative, to working in partnership.
Yes.
I suppose you're developing like MOUs, you're developing all these type of things, like terms of reference with the companies and committees that you're working with. And I suppose you're creating a shared sense of purpose.
Yes. Yes.
And
I mean, those are hugely important skills, really, in some of those areas that you've worked in. And, we're conscious, there maybe is still a gender issue, in some of these types of areas of work, like in construction, in apprenticeship, and maybe even in certain sectors. Now we know a lot of that is changing as well, but being an influencer and brokering agreement and bringing about change in very complex political, very operationally sensitive as well areas, such as the ones you're working in. As a female, do you think that made it maybe more of a challenge, or did that give you a bit of drive, because,
to be dead honest,
yes,
I'm going to be dead honest, I never see my gender as an issue.
Okay. Yeah.
I've never seen it as giving me more drive.
Yes.
I enjoy what I do, and I suppose the main thing is I enjoy working with people.
Yes.
I enjoy, I suppose, thinking outside the box.
Yes.
Looking at things from a different angle, not always doing the same thing. Just because it's done the same way doesn't mean it can continue to do that way. There's always room for improvement.
Yes.
But I do firmly believe in inclusiveness and diversity, in making, accessibility like FET for everyone.
Yes.
We have 1 in 10 now.
Mm-hmm.
We're aiming at 500,000.
Mm-hmm.
If we're going back to figures, we're aiming at the 10,000 for the apprenticeships by 2025, which is this year. So I think I was the first manager female of apprenticeship.
Okay, yes.
So I've probably been the first female in construction as well. But I don't think that has influenced me, if you know what I mean.
Yes.
I'm not sure how other people, I can't talk for other people, but I think I have been successful.
Absolutely.
In all these areas.
Yes.
If we go back to EGF, we've had 10 programs from 2010 to 2019.
Yes.
We had 58 million co-funding from EU and the Irish government.
Yeah,
we helped over 9,000, targeted 14,500.
In very difficult circumstances
Very difficult circumstances, because there was people in those programs for decades.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about, there was manufacturing, you had Dell, you had glass, which was Waterford Crystal, you had aircraft, which would have been Lufthansa, SR Technics, you had Pratt and Whitney. We had Talk, which was telecommunications. Anderson in Rathkeil, which was jewellery. So we had a cross section of people. And to have the funding available to be able to go and assist them. Yes. Not just from but to listen again from a career coaching point of view, and to start them on their new journey. Yes. That's, I think, the key. As well. And I think that's what I've carried with me through all my career. When I started back, I suppose, in employment services, you're still, on a one-to-one every day with people, assisting. So the
power of listening, Joanne.
The power of listening. And I suppose not just listening, because you have to act as well then. So, it's great to like, even going back to last week, great to have an event, great to have a successful event. But now, what's coming out of that? What actions have we got? What do we need to do to drive it on? Yes. So it's really by, listening. Yes. What can we do? And then it's about putting that. And it's about, obviously, SOLAS has, strategic objectives. The government, the program for government has strategic objectives. We have green, we have housing for all, we have all these things.
Skills are really at the heart, aren't they? At the heart. A lot of what we want to achieve.
And we're very
country.
Ambitious in Ireland.
Yes. Yes. So we're not lacking that.
No, we're not. And it's great to be ambitious, but we have to have the people in the right jobs. So we have to ensure, and this is what today, I suppose, is about as well, as the future skills. Where are our future skills? Yes. Digital. that's where our skills are.
Yeah.
Green, like
Yeah.
AI is coming in. What does that mean?
Yes.
That's going to affect the construction industry as well.
Of course.
And back to modern methods of construction, you've got your 7 stages kind of thing.
Yeah.
If you're going to build something in a factory and you're not building it on site, how does that work?
Yeah.
How does that impact?
They're all, in some ways still difficult concepts, I think, for us to even think about, as a nation, the fact that, you can have something like a 3D house printed and built and people living in them in County Louth,
Yes, yes.
Like, there are these new technologies and new advances, but I think some of the really important points that you're raising, Joanne, bringing in your own experience and your own skills there, is that transversal skill set is of huge importance as well, isn't it? Like it should be acknowledged. First female manager of apprenticeship services, first female going into construction services and SOLAS. In fact, across this table, you have the first female director of apprenticeship and the first female manager of apprenticeship in SOLAS. I think we should take a moment just to note that. But I think, what we see as well in our research, and, we have a huge amount of research as well in transversal skills. And what we see is that organisations, even in vacancies, are more and more looking for transversal skills. They're looking for communication, adapt to change, working in teams, building teams. So I think the last time we did a survey on this in our skills and labour market research unit, we seen that there were almost 30% of the skills that over millions of jobs being advertised are transversal in nature. So in thinking about that then and the future skills, and we sort of touched on that, I just wonder, what do you think are maybe some of the really important future skills that we need to think about in Ireland for the coming years? This is a really important part of our conversation on skills. What do you think are a couple of the future skills that we need to focus on in the country?
Well, I suppose you've talked about transversal skills there, and I suppose when you're thinking about where AI is going to come into things,
yes,
we need people to be more problem solving. We need people to be more critical thinking. Probably digital age as well. We need people, because I think I read, was it 90% of the people going forward will have to have some basic knowledge of digital skills going forward, the way we're going.
Yes.
And not, I suppose we can always, you see, we're always probably saying digitalization and, AI and stuff like that. But we have to, there's human skills as well, like the health service.
Yes.
We really, really we have an aging population, so we'll probably need to grow the health service there. We have the green economy, I suppose, and we have green sustainability. I mean, SOLAS had the first strategy for the green launched in the Mansion House there a few weeks ago. So they're working on, that actually gives you an outline of what future skills we need to meet the target for climate change and stuff like that. I suppose we're looking at tourism.
Yes.
So it's not just, and I'm not including or excluding construction, because obviously that's the key here at the moment as well, because housing for all and the houses that we want to build and stuff like that, and our ambition to do that. But I suppose if you look at it, yes, we need digital skills. Yes, we need, but at the centre is the human person as well.
Yes.
Because who's going to do the problem solving if the AI and develop that? Who's going to do the critical thinking? Who's going to have all these skills going forward? Who are going to take care of the elderly? We still need people in the healthcare, nurses, carers and stuff like that.
Yes.
Who's going to tourism as well? There's always going to be a personal touch. And I think sometimes maybe we forget about that.
Yes.
And I think that's important.
Very important.
Very, very important. Because you're still going to have people we need on the ground to build the houses as well.
Absolutely.
But what does that look like? As we said, we're going back again, and I know I'm probably bringing it back to construction again, but not just modern methods of construction, but there's all different types of things coming in now for the built environment.
Of course.
And I mean, there's the green and the built environment, and what does that mean?
Yes.
And how does that, can we build them faster, as I said earlier? Can we build them smarter? Can we be more sustainable?
Yeah.
But we need the workforce to do that.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing.
Yeah.
Like, there's future skills, but there could be shortages as well. So how do we encourage people to go into that environment?
That's it.
How do we encourage more people not just from an apprenticeship, but go back into FET, which we know there's 1 in 10 we said earlier. But how do we encourage people to get involved in that type of area and not just kind of the third level? So it's about, I suppose, and linking your further education to your higher education, to your tertiary, to make it easier for people to maybe have micro qualification. Maybe they can build on them, get that it's not the prolonged 3 and 4 year cycle that we're kind of all used to, that there's all different ways of people getting to where they want to get to.
Absolutely.
From a future skills position, I suppose. I'm probably have to go off topic there a little bit, Shauna.
No, not at all. I mean, I think they're all very important points. And as you rightly say, going back to that idea of the human skills, because actually sometimes we do run that risk where we talk about the themes, or what we're trying to achieve as a result of skills, but sometimes we forget that actually without people, what's the point actually of skills, So it has to come back to people.
Exactly.
Doesn't it?
But I think and again, I suppose it's about having the right people in the right skill at the right time. And it's about looking at them now, like you're saying, from a research point of view.
Yes.
It's about saying, what skill will we need in 5 to 10 years' time?
Yes.
And that's, I think, what you're doing from a research point of view. It's what the green strategy is doing. It's what the program of government is probably doing.
Yeah.
I mean, and I think we're still coming back to the housing for all and all that. But I mean, if we're going to build 50,000 houses, then we need to have the people.
We need to have the people and the right skills.
Exactly.
Of course.
And can it be done?
Yes.
With less people if we work faster, smarter, more sustainable, and have the right people with the right skills?
And these are the key questions. And now, Joanne, me and you could sit here and we could talk all day, about one thing or another.
I didn't think I could, but maybe I could.
I think we could. But I'm just going to ask you one last question now, just to bring our podcast here today to a close. And it's just bringing it right back to the point of why we're having the podcast. And it's that conversation that we want to ignite and inspire people who are listening to us to think about in terms of skills. Is there maybe one or two even ideas that you would want to leave us with in terms of what you think your contribution is to that new national conversation on skills?
I suppose my contribution is to make sure that what I'm managing at the moment continues to develop, continues to be focused on the future, continues to ensure that it's a fit for purpose program no matter what I'm delivering, and the people that are delivering have the skills to deliver it. And it's about listening to partners out there to ensure that we're delivering what we're supposed to deliver.
And I have no doubt, Joanne, that you will continue to do that and you will deliver on that, given the many, many successes and the impacts you've made to so many different people across your career. Thank you so much for joining me today, Joanne. And thank you for being part of our Future Skills Ireland podcast.
Thank you, Shauna. It was a pleasure.